Now we are going to discuss in session 4, that is drainage and climate of India. So in our last class we have discussed about the physiographic divisions of India, and already I said about that the drainage system of India comprises of two, that are drainage means what? The rivers or the water bodies, the entire river system of India. So this drainage system has been divided into two types: the north flowing rivers and the south flowing rivers, or the southernmost rivers, the south flowing rivers. Okay. So what are the main differences between now these north flowing rivers and south flowing rivers? You see, the rivers which flow from the great Himalayan mountainous system or the great Himalayan mountains, these are known as what? North flowing rivers. Okay, such as Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra. Their main source of origin is what? From the extremely northern part of India. That means what? From the Himalayan mountainous range. Okay. Now the south flowing rivers is what? They are the mode of occurrence or the source of the rivers is what? The hills that are present, that can be found in the peninsular plateau or the Deccan plateau area. These are some of the important points. Now, according to the your book which has been given here, we will go line by line in its quite meaning. So, all of you open up your books, that is page number 61. So, here we will find some of the major differences between the north flowing rivers and the south flowing rivers. Okay. Point number 1. The North Indian rivers have the water flows throughout the year as they are coming out of the snow covered high mountains. As I had already told you, these north flowing rivers, these rivers quite originate from the Himalayan mountainous ranges. Okay, and all you know that the entire Himalayan mountainous ranges has been covered by snow, isn't it? So snow covered, that means these are what? Mountainous type of glaciers. So in our first class changes of the earth, we have studied that there are two types of glaciers: continental glaciers and what? Mountainous glaciers. So all the rivers originate from this northern part or north flowing rivers. These are snow faded rivers. That means these originate, the source of their origin is what? From the mountainous area, the Himalayan mountainous area. Is it clear? That means the Himalayan mountainous glaciers. Is it clear now? Okay. But the rivers of South India generally originate from the mountains and plateaus of comparatively low height, so that they dried out during winter. Yes. So south flowing rivers, as I already told you, that these originate from the southern plateau or the Deccan plateau area, and these rivers, what? They are they are quite originate. These are seasonal river. Okay, when the rainfall will occur, that there will be enormous amount of water and these rivers usually flows down. These are not snow faded rivers. Is it clear? Because here in the southern plateau area we find low hills. The average height of the hills, the maximum height of the hills, what? Above 3000 meter. And in the northern part of the Himalaya, the maximum height is what? Above 8000 meter. Is it clear now? Okay. So next you say, the point number B, you see these things are very important, and these are some of the most common questions which are frequently asked in your exams, okay, in your board exam. So reminding the differences between the north flowing rivers and the south flowing rivers. So that's why I want to explain each and every point which are described here in your book. There's a page number 62. All of you take out your, all of you open up your this page 62 and go line by line. When I will explain all these things, just you go line by line, because these points are very much important and these are one of the most common questions which are frequently asked in your board exam. Is it fine? Okay. So number second point, you can see the three courses of the river, that means the upper course, middle course and the lower course are distinctly seen in the northern rivers, Why? They cannot be seen distinct in the case of South Indian rivers, isn't it? So we have discussed in our last class, that means in the changes of the earth, in our first class before the lockdown situation. So we have discussed that there are three courses of river: the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. And there are three stages of river also: the younger stage, the middle stage, and the mature stage. Okay, all these three distinct type of features often we can find only in north flowing rivers, which are quite absent in north flowing rivers. We don't find that the younger stage, the middle stage, and the lower or the mature stage. Why? Because these north flowing rivers come out from the great height, isn't it? From the lofty Himalayan ranges. But the south flowing rivers usually originates from the low lying hills. That's why we find these kind of differences. So we don't find the three courses or the three stages of river in this south flowing rivers. So next number C point, you see the valleys of the North Indian valleys are quite wide, and these rivers have their long course in the plains. They flow slowly, hence they are navigable. So north flowing rivers have their valleys are extremely wide, and these rivers are quite good for navigable purpose. Now you can ask that what is navigable, isn't it, or what is navigation? Navigation means what? You know, the process or the way by which the ships usually travel. That means you can say in our common language that waterways. Is it clear? The ways, the waterways through which the ships or the boats usually travel. Is it clear? So we can say that before our independence, when the British came to India, they used the waterways, isn't it? So these are some kind of the very, you know, through the smooth navigation only, the British or the East European company, the Portuguese, the Dutch, they used to came to India only through this, by this navigation way. So next you see, but the valleys of the South Indian rivers are comparatively narrow, and the rivers, have you seen this? And the rivers are flowing rapidly. Okay, so here we don't find, in south flowing rivers, we don't find such type of navigation or such type of broad or wide river valleys, and these are quite very rapid flowing rivers. So hence these are not suitable for navigation purpose. Next number D, you can see the rivers of South India are older, and they are flowing in a definite course over the hard rocks of Deccan Plateau. So these rivers do not change their channels frequently, and their floodplains are also narrow. So here in south, these south flowing rivers are much more older comparing to the north flowing rivers. Now why? Because north flowing rivers originate from the northern Himalayan, isn't it? And northern Himalayan is what? Yongfol mountain. The northern Himalayan mountain formed during the Tertiary age, and it is a type of Yongfol mountain. But the south flowing rivers, these rivers originate from the peninsular or the Deccan Plateau area, and the Deccan Plateau or the peninsular plateau is a part of that Gondwana land. So what is now Gondwana land? You see, when the Gondwana land and the Laurasia or the Angara land were adjoined, at that time it was known as what? Pangaea. Already we have discussed in our class. Then also I just want to remind you what? Pangaea is known as the to be supercontinent. Are you remembering all that? Okay, fine. So that supercontinent, so due to some kind of drifting force, continental drifting, we have already discussed in our classes, isn't it? Due to the drifting force, all that, the great Pangaea has been divided into two parts, the Angara land or Laurasia, which split up into the extreme northern part, and the Gondwana land, which split it up to the extreme southern part. Fine. So from that Gondwana land, again separation of that part. Now we find that South America, Africa, Australia, part of India, that means part of that peninsular India, that triangular shape of India, it is one of the formerly a part of that what Gondwana land. Is it clear? Now, due to the plate tectonic movement, the part from one part of that Gondwana land, it goes and it just strike to the Indian plate and it joined along with the northern area of India, and it became one of the very large country as came to be known as what? India. Okay, so here you can see this peninsular plateau area, these were once upon a time, these was a part of that Gondwana land. Now what is Gondwana land? As I told you, now the present form, when the Gondwana land split and or divided, now at present we find this South America extremely to the south, South Africa, not only South Africa, the entire part of Africa, Australia and New Zealand. Nowadays it has been known as what? Oceania. Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, all these countries together known as what? Oceania, not Australia. Now this Australia is not known as to be a continent, but what? Together it is known as what? Oceania. Fine, got it? Okay, so this is what? A part. This was a what? It came to the northern part and it joined with this entire rest of the northern India. Okay, and that's why here in this in this what? Southern area, we find some kind of very typical type of hills which are known as what? This formation are what? Very old. Okay, in the all the hills that we find in this southern part, these are very old. It was formed in the very ancient times as compared to the mountains that found in this northern part or in this what? Northern Himalayan system. Is it clear? Okay, so next point we will discuss. So you see, okay, so that's why the south flowing rivers are quite much more older than that of the north flowing rivers. Okay, here you can see. Okay, on the other hand, the rivers of North India are relatively younger in age and these change their channels frequently, so their floodplains are also wide. So that's why the north flowing rivers are quite younger in age than that of the south flowing rivers. So that's why these have very wide floodplain area, because flood often or frequently occurs where? Only in this these are occurred by only this north flowing rivers, not by the south flowing rivers. Is it fine? Okay, so next point you see, the North Indian rivers are not swift flowing rivers and they carry high sediment load. So these rivers are not so suitable for hydropower generation, but the South Indian rivers are swift flowing rivers and they carry less amount of sediment load. Hence, these rivers are very suitable for hydropower generation. So these north flowing rivers, as it comes out from a very high mountainous area, from a very high areas, so it usually carries lots of sediments. So that's why hydroelectricity power generation is quite not suitable in north flowing rivers, whereas in south flowing rivers, as these rivers originate from a low lying height, so quite the hydroelectricity power generation is quite possible where? In north flowing river areas. Okay, so next point you say, the North Indian rivers have their fertile valleys and so these are densely populated, as we all know, and whereas the South Indian rivers valleys are comparatively less fertile and hence population density is not so high there. So in India, the most popular cities of India, the most popular city can be found in UP, Delhi, Kolkata, or you can say the West Bengal. The Ganga Brahmaputra valley, we can find the highest number of population. Why? Because the north flowing river, these are what? Carries lots of sediments. As a result, it creates floodplain. And floodplains are what? Comprises of alluvium soil. Now what are alluvium soil? Alluvium soil are such type of soil which are very, very fertile for agricultural purposes. These are very productive in nature. That's why people often fascinate towards the that this fertile valley, isn't it? So often we used to go in the we get fascinated towards that part where we can find that ample of opportunities, the better standard of living, isn't it? That's why in this what north flowing rivers, it form the great northern, the plain area, which are very very fertile. That's why the most populous cities of India often we find besides or nearby these north flowing rivers as comparing to the south flowing rivers. Is it clear? Here we find less amount of population as comparing to north flowing rivers. That means the areas covered by this, surrounded by these north flowing rivers. Is it clear now? Okay. So next point you say, as already I told you in just a minute ago, that the North Indian rivers are quite navigable and the South Indian rivers are not so much of good for navigation purpose. Next point you say, the North Indian rivers are generally long and large deltas are formed at their mouths, but the South Indian rivers are comparatively short and only few rivers have deltas at their mouths. So what is now delta? Yes, have you reminded? We have already discussed what is delta. Delta is, suppose, a triangular shape or English letter D, which is known as to be D. So that's why this is known as what? Delta. Okay. Or you can say suppose like D, or suppose kind of some the triangular shape also. So these are what are formed at the mouth of the rivers due to the depositional process of the running water. Yes, the deposition of the sediments at the mouth of the river forms the delta. So already we came to know that what north flowing rivers originate from the great height of the Himalayas. It has three courses of the river: the upper course, the middle course and the lower course. At the same time it has three stages also: the youthful stage, the middle stage and the last or the mature stage. That's why the deltas often we find, frequent deltas often we find at the mouth of the north flowing rivers, isn't it? But at the mouth of the south flowing rivers we don't find such kind of deltas. Is it clear now? So in this session we have discussed about the drainage system of India, comprises of what? North flowing rivers and south flowing rivers. North flowing rivers are what? The rivers that comes out from the north Himalayan mountainous region, and the south flowing rivers are what? The rivers which came out from the hills of the peninsular plateau area. So I think you have got the central concept of this entire chapter, not entire chapter of this topics, entire topic, isn't it? So in our next session we will discuss about the climate and the vegetation of India. Thank you.